Hi guys, Stephanie here with another Bibliophobes video, and today I am bringing you kind of a dual type of a book video. It's a tag video, it's an original tag video, but it's also kind of my reading prompt for what I plan on reading this month. So I was going through my books, seeing which ones I wanted to read, and I was watching videos and I was listening to Halloween music and Halloween movies, and I decided, why not create like a tag to help me pick books for the month so that I can read the books for the month. Why not? And being that it is the month of Halloween, I decided to pick 13 books. And I will kind of go with you and show you what I picked out this month. So for this word association, it is ghosts and ghouls. And the reason why I picked this book is because if you know anything about this character, he deals with a lot of ghosts, ghouls, goblins, witches, warlocks, everything. So I decided to pick The Witcher. And that is, this book is The Blood of Elves. This is the first book in the series. And this book is about, of course, our main character. And he's dealing with, hence the blood of elves, he's dealing with just them fighting and everything like that. So the back of the cover says, for over a century, humans, dwarves, gnomes, and elves have lived together in relative peace. But times have changed and the uneasy peace is over, and now the races are fighting once again. The only good elf, it seems, is a dead elf. So yeah, I decided to pick that one for my first book that I plan on reading, and so far it's going pretty well. I am that far, just barely breaking the top of it. And it's not very good because it is now the 15th of October, and I've read only one book this month. That is not good. But usually this kind of happens. It takes me a little bit to get going, and then all of a sudden I've read a ton of books. So we will continue on. And the second word association, whatever you want to call it, is haunted house. Pick a book with a haunted house in it. And I decided to pick up Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. If you have ever read this book at all, which this is a reread for me, there is a haunted house in here. It is the Shrieking Shack. And of course, I cannot dive into anything of this because it would give away the story. For those of you that have not read it, get on that bus and read it. There's a bus on the cover. The third book that I decided to pick has to deal with the phrase murder mystery. Pick a book with a murder mystery in it. And if you've ever read this book, this is another reread for me, Dracula by Bram Stoker. This does have murder mystery in it, believe it or not, because people are dying and they do not know why. So that is why I decided to pick this book for the month of October. And I really don't think nothing needs to be explained. It's Dracula. Ta-da! So the fourth book word association pick is magic. Pick a book with magic in it. And the book that I decided to pick is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And this is by Suzanne Clark. This book is about a magic society. And it's kind of prim and proper because it's English, and I have started reading it, so you definitely get a feel for the prim and properness. And it's kind of like a guild in English British time. And it is back in the day a little bit, so beyond that, I really don't know much about the story other than what it says on the back, and it doesn't really give too much away other than what I just told you. The fifth book that I decided to pick has to deal with the phrase black book. Pick a book that is black. And, well, that wasn't too hard, but I decided to pick this book up because I don't have the sleeve for it, so it's a black book. But it is Legend by Mary Lou, and I can't tell you what it's about because I have no clue what it's about. This was sent to me, well, it wasn't sent to me. I bought this book on thriftbooks.com, and it did say in the prompt, I just didn't read it, so it's not their fault that they sent it to me like this, but it did say on there that it is an ex-library book, and it didn't have the sleeve on it. So the sixth book that I decided to pick with the word association of witchy read, like witchy read, and that is Curse of the Bane, actually, even though this is a Seventh Son. The second book that is in here, it's Curse of the Bane, and our main character actually has to deal with a major witch in here, so, and not just like a mean person, but an actual witch. So that is kind of what's going on. But to read the back of it to give you more of a idea of what's going on, it says, the powers of evil are strengthening and only one man holds them back. Now the man needs an apprentice. Tom Ward is the seventh son of a seventh son and has been chosen. When one of the world's most malevolent witches escapes, Tom will face his first test. Many apprentices have come before. They have failed or fled or died. If Tom succeeds, and if he survives, he will be the last apprentice. So that's kind of what it's dealing with, and we are in the second book, which I don't know beyond what says on the back of what's going on. So I definitely wanted to get that done, especially during the month of October. And the seventh book that I decided to pick with the word association of Angel Book. And if you have ever stepped by my channel, you will find that I am going through the Mortal Instruments series. And this one is City of Lost Souls. This is book 5 in the Mortal Instruments book series books by Cassandra Clare. That could have been more butcher, but oh well. And this is the 5th book, and I can't read the back of it because it will give away certain aspects of the book. And if you haven't read this series, that will spoil quite a few things with you. But I will say it is about our two main characters, Clary and Jace, and it is about their journey together. That is all I'm going to say. Which I realize as I'm picking these books, these are giant books. They're like getting bigger as we go along. So I might get some of them done. The 8th book that I decided to pick with the word association of skull on the cover. I decided to pick The Last Magician. Has a couple skulls on the cover. And this is by Lisa Maxwell. And this book, I picked it up because I like the cover. But to read the inside of it, it says, in modern day New York, magic is all but extinct. The remaining few have had an affinity for magic. The Magus live in the shadows, hiding who they are. Any Magus, Magi? Magus? Magi. I don't know what it says. Who enters Manhattan become trapped by the brink, a dark energy barrier that confines them to the island. Crossing it means losing their power and often their lives. That I thought was very intriguing. Plus, the skulls on the cover, which is super cool. But I will be giving this book a go. I have not started it yet. Oh wait, I have. Nope, I haven't. I haven't started it at all. And then the 9th book that I decided to pick up is actually Frankenstein. I do not have my book with me because I left it at work. And Frankenstein, if you don't know what Frankenstein is about, it is about Dr. Frankenstein and the monster he creates and the chaos that ensues. I have never read the classic book though, so this is a brand new series for me to start out with. So it is really interesting so far, and it is definitely kind of falls in that category of murder mystery too. The 10th book that I decided to pick up with the word association of zombies. And I decided to pick up Nightmare City by Andrew Clevan. I think that's how you say it. But this, when I read the back of the cover, it kind of sounds like a zombie type of book to me. It says on the back, what should have been an ordinary morning is about to spiral into a day of unrelenting terror. As a reporter for his high school newspaper, Tom, I don't know what it is with the name Tom. Tom is always on the lookout for an offbeat story. But from the moment he woke up this morning, his own life has been more bizarre than any headline could ever tell. The streets of his town are suddenly empty and silent. A strange fog has drifted in from the sea and hangs over everything, and something is moving in that fog. Something evil, something hungry, closing in on Tom. That to me says zombie, but we'll see when I start reading this book. And the next book that I decided to pick up was with the phrase paranormal, and I decided to pick up Shadow's Lure by John Sprunk. This book is about our main character, Kane, and his sidekick here, I guess you could call it, she's Ghost. And he can only see her, and it has to deal with his powers that he has, but we don't know exactly why his powers are the way they are. And I can't read the back because this is the second book in the series. This is a phenomenal series so far. I really, really, really like it. It doesn't follow the classic rhythm of an adventure story. There is some interesting aspects in the first book, which is really, really good. It really surprised me because the bad guy somewhat won, but the good guy somewhat won. So it's definitely a different beat, which I like having a different beat. So I'm definitely going to be picking this one up fairly shortly because obviously I got to get through all these books. And the 12th book that I decided to pick up with the phrase vampires or wolves or both. Well, of course, that definitely had to have been a Mercy Thompson book. And this one is Night Broken by Patricia Briggs. This is obviously a Mercy Thompson series. And her husband is a werewolf, and one of her best friends is a vampire. So it fit perfectly in that category. But this one, which is definitely really good, it has to deal with, it's many down the series, and I cannot read it because it will give some things away, which I've already given some stuff away, but you'll find that out later. But it is definitely a book I'm good. And the 13th book that I decided to pick up with the word association of fairy tale. And that book is A Whole New World by Liz Braswell. But this is a twisted tale. So this one I can kind of see it being like a actual fairy tale, because fairy tales, if you really ever read the actual fairy tale, like Grimm fairy tales, Hans Christian Andersen, not a lot of them end happy ever. So I'm gonna see what this is like. I've been very hesitant to read this just because it is a twisted tale. Will it end good? Will it end bad? Will it end where Jafar wins? I don't know. So I'm very nervous to read this. But I will give it a try. Since it is the month of Halloween, I will give it a try. Then this one did not make it on the list, but I am kind of holding out for it as maybe a switcheroo in one of the books if I feel like I cannot read the certain book, or a book is boring and I want to switch it up. And that is Vessel by Sarah Beth Durst. And this book is about this character on here. Let me just read you the inside cover. Liana has trained her entire life to be a vessel of a goddess. She will dance and summon her tribe's deity, who will inhabit Liana's body and use magic to bring rain to the desert. But when the dance ends, Liana is still here. Her goddess has not come. Her tribe is furious and sure that it is Liana's fault. Abandoned by her tribe, Liana expects to die in the desert until a boy walks out of the dust in search of her. That one I'm definitely kind of holding out for. Pretty much any one of these books, who knows what's going to happen in this story. So I definitely want to give this book a try, but 13 books is pretty ambitious, and I did not want to add a 14th book onto there. So that's kind of what's going on with that one. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let us see how well I do this month. And until next time, guys, this is a Bibliophobe signing off. Bye.